Yesterday, we found out that Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, the first and second place finishers of the race at Pocono, were disqualified for failing post-race inspection. There was issues with the front fascia as it was in a position that is unapproved by NASCAR. So the points they accumulated during the race, from the points from finishing first, from finishing second, and the stage points they accumulated during the first two stages, are all taken away as they're scored 0 points for the weekend. Essentially, it's like they didn't even show up for the race this weekend. And third place finisher Chase Elliott was credited with the win. And as much as I respect Joe Gibbs Racing for not wanting to appeal the verdict that NASCAR made and taking their loss, taking their defeat like men, you really have nothing to lose by trying to appeal the verdict, right? Well, there's probably a couple reasons why Joe Gibbs Racing isn't bothering with the appeal. One, they know that they were in the wrong and they're holding themselves accountable. They got caught in 4K. Second, they feel like it's a waste of time. Kind of ties into the first reason. They knew what they did was wrong and they're holding themselves accountable and they're going to do everything they can in the future to prevent that from happening again. And they just want to focus on next week. They want to focus on the final 5 races in the regular season and focus on the playoffs, because both are going to be a part of the 16 driver playoff to compete for the championship. And 3, and this might be the biggest reason, in fact, it is the biggest reason, is it possible that NASCAR may have found something more, maybe found something additional? Because I do believe the rule is when a car fails post-race inspection, they are taken to a shop that is examined further. And I do think there's about maybe 2 or 3 other cars that get examined like randomly for further inspection. But it almost makes you think, was there something further that we didn't find out, that NASCAR didn't catch until they examined things further? But I read all of the comments from last night's reaction video that I did, and a couple comments really stuck out to me. And one pointed out some of the inconsistencies of NASCAR. Because earlier in the season, Brad Keselowski had a very severe penalty. And there were people that were really lobbying for them to have the same consistency for when they penalized Keselowski earlier in the year. So it just feels more lenient compared to what happened with Keselowski earlier in the season. And the thing is, what's sad about it is Brad Keselowski, the edge that he tried to get, or that his team tried to get, it didn't even work at all. Because I don't even believe Brad Keselowski has even finished in the top 5 all season long. Bubba Wallace has more top 5s than Brad Keselowski this season, I believe. Another comment I saw, I don't know if it was on my video or somebody else's video, but it talked about how the 20 team, how they had a loose wheel and had a wheel fall off during the race a couple of weeks ago, and the crew chief didn't get suspended because one of the new rules that NASCAR has implemented is that if a wheel falls off during the race, then it is a 4-race suspension for the tire changer and for the crew chief. Which, honestly, that is honestly the stupidest penalty, the stupidest rule that NASCAR has implemented since the crash clock. This is kind of why I have a hard time with enjoying NASCAR like I used to when I was, early childhood compared to now. They're always changing all these rules, always having to, have to think of something else that they think is more of an advancement than in the past. Like, is NASCAR really trying to be IndyCar so bad by only having one lug nut on every single tire? And I did mention yesterday how this verdict by NASCAR by disqualifying Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, that it is a confidence killer for them, that it could potentially be one. Because I mentioned that Kyle Busch has not been confirmed to return to Joe Gibbs Racing next season, as that was a potential moment that he could have used to prove himself that he's worthy of returning to Joe Gibbs Racing for the 2023 season. And Denny Hamlin, he really needed some confidence. He could have tied Chase Elliott for having the most wins this season with 3. And the fact that the most wins this season so far is only, at this point now, 4 by Chase Elliott, I think it just shows the parity that we've seen in NASCAR this season. Because in 2021, just last year, we had Kyle Larson dominating everybody. In 2020, we had a battle between Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick to win the race every single week. And I believe it was in 2017, 2018, the winner of the race every week, it was nearly a given that either Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. would win that race on any given week. Maybe even a Kevin Harvick would have been up there for winning every single week. But nowadays, it feels a little bit more equal in ways. And I get that NASCAR, they want to make it more competitive by these new cars, by having these new cars be able to race close together. But part of that is, the con to that is, you're not going to necessarily get the best driver to win the championship at the end of the year, especially with how the point system is. But good news for Hamlin and Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing, because the 5 races left for the playoffs, there is still some time to get some confidence for the playoffs. Because next week they are at the Indianapolis road course, which Denny Hamlin, he could have won that race last year, but Chase Briscoe was black flagged and he just turned Denny Hamlin. They're at Michigan the following week. Then they are at Richmond, which Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, they have both been good at Richmond in the past. Watkins Glen the following week, as Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, they have both won at Watkins Glen before. And then the regular season finale is at Daytona, where it is a complete wild card and anybody can win that race. So you've got some tracks coming on this schedule that they can easily get some confidence back. They could easily win one of the next 5 races. But that is all I have. Should Joe Gibbs Racing have tried to appeal the penalty? Should they have tried to appeal their verdict? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, have a wonderful day.